Final Fantasy universe is rife with powerful deities and other elemental riffraff which aim to put the willies up enemies, and not in a good way. Appearing way back way in Final Fantasy III, summons are now a staple of the series, offering support to players in their time of need or as a reason to exact powerful justice on enemies not willing to play ball with the whole "just die and give me EXP" thing. Now, as this is a series which shows no ironical understanding of the word final, there are more summons now than my court appearances. So what I've done is wrangle some of the best into a list for your enjoyment or displeasure, I don't care. Number 10. Gilgamesh. Starting out as a boss in Final Fantasy V, Gilgi switches sides in Final Fantasy VIII when he capitalizes on the death of Odin to claim his spot as the #1 RNGGF. Stealing the now deceased horse rider's sword to add to his own, Gilgamesh joins the group and cuts many a foe in two with one of his cutlery collection. While being one of the most powerful otherworldly companions, Gilgo MG ranks at the top of this list because he's just so unpredictable. It would be cool to call on his immense power at the drop of a hat, but that would A, make the game way too easy, and B, kind of make it less special when he pops up and carves up enemies like a Sunday roast. And look, I wanted to put Odin here, I really did, but when he went down like such a chump in Final Fantasy VIII, I had to put Gilgi in his place. Say what you will, but this chap didn't run full pelt at a dude and get cut in half. Well, not yet anyway. And also, Gilgamosh has the potential to be summoned during boss fights, which Odin can't do, so there we go. Number 9. Carbuncle. To prove that not all the best summons have to be damaged powerhouses, Carbuncle, the floppy-eared cat Digimon thing, is a purely supportive beast, and all the better for it. First appearing in Final Fantasy V, the emerald-coloured gem weasel has gone on to appear time and time again throughout the FF series. Summoning Carbuncle benefits the party with Reflect, Haste, and often Shield or Protect, making it the warmest hug ever bestowed to an RPG fan. And its usefulness is only outweighed by its ridiculously cute appearance, except the horrifying concept art, and it's a mainstay of any Final Fantasy fanatic. Number 8. Brothers. Now, this one is a personal inclusion, so I put it a little higher up the list, but in my opinion, the brothers are absolute gold. If you were to sit down opposite me and tell me that the brothers summon in Final Fantasy VIII wasn't a slice of comedy pie, then I'd call you an absolute liar. The rock, paper, scissors, the tears, the fact that the smaller brother is able to launch his larger sibling so high in the air that he literally team rockets out of the picture is a joy to behold. So what if it's not the most powerful or even sensible of all the summons? It's a joy to call them up to bat each and every time. And if you disagree, then I'm sorry, but I'll never stop loving this horny pair. Number 7. Alexander. Alexander is a rather unique, thing. In a group of summons inspired by mythical beasts and legends, Alexander is a humongous robot the size of a fortress, which just tickles my mecha fetish fantasy something fierce. Alexander's attack, Divine Judgment, inflicts heavy holy damage, which while only being truly useful against dark or undead enemies, sure does leave a lasting impression. Alexander's standout moment to date is his epic showdown with Bahamut in Final Fantasy IX. As the dragon attacks the good people of Alexandria, Garnet and Eiko do their best Captain Planet impression to summon the monolithic Alexander. After protecting the city with its angelic wings, it fires off a volley of holy powered rockets, killing the badass dragon and a huge fireball of an explosion. Absolute badass. Number 6. Leviathan. Since Flannel Flannel 3, Leviathan has appeared frequently as a summon, but due to its water-based mythology, often takes on a more plot-based role as the reviled Lord of all Waters or the Sea King. Leviathan's personality matches its size, seeing humans as an unwelcome hindrance or insignificant and inferior species, more often than not requiring the party to defeat it in battle before it will dubiously agree to join you. But you'll be glad that you went through the trouble, as any enemy unlucky enough to be weak to water is going to be annihilated by the monstrous force of this deep-sea denizen. Number 5. Efreaks. Fire-based Efreaks and long-time rival Ice-based Shiva have undeniably become two of the most recognised symbols and characters of the Final Fantasy series. Whilst resembling a hellish demon in Final Fantasy III, Efreet has transformed from humanoid to increasingly bestial forms, until Final Fantasy XV, where he once more returned to human form, which if you think about it is really weird seeing as he's meant to despise humans and sought to bring about their destruction. But hey ho, fireball a go-go. His aggression and hellish attacks make him a great force to call on when smiters need a smoting, and his Lion King-esque looks have made him a friend to Final Fantasy fellows and furries alike. Number 4. Rama. Being one of the first summons players usually get to grips with in a Final Fantasy title, Old Man Lightning is as reliable as he is wise, often chucking down more white lightning than me on the weekend, or weekday. That's a deep burn. His iconic appearance and willingness to shock enemies into submission makes him a staple of any player's experience. Plus, very few enemies are resistant to lightning, so it's a good call for most situations. He also bucks a trend in the series, as he's one of the few summons who actually respects intellect over violence, only joining you if you solve puzzles or simply talk to him rather than just gun-blading his ass as soon as you meet him. Plus points for that beard. Number 3, Doom Train. Okay, so I've got a script here that I meant to be reading off, but what else can I say other than it's a Doom Train? It's a literal train that just smashes through you. It's just like, you're here, crossroads come down, and it's just like, doot, doot, all aboard the pain train, boom! Out the park. So long. Sayonara, you're dead. I've got a whole script to read here, and I'm just, it's a Doom Train! Number 2, Shiva. Like Efreaks, Shiva has appeared in almost every main series game since her first incarnation as the Blue Lady in Final Fantasy III. She's often considered Efreaks' opposite, not only in element but also in personality. She meets his rage and impulsiveness with a calmer, more empathetic style, which is reflected in her summon attacks. While Efreaks smashes boulders and whirls flames around the battlefield, Shiva summons devastating ice attacks through dance and gentle movement. The end result is the same, however, with enemies ruining the day that they stepped up to this scantily clad summon. And number 1, Bahamut. The Dragon King is often the most powerful of the main storyline summons, and his Mega Flare attack, or its variations, is usually one of the most powerful attacks in the game. Obviously, we have to look over when Robo Boy kicked his ass, as mentioned earlier, but he has become so synonymous with the Final Fantasy series that it would be odd to imagine a title without him. But in order to get on the good graces of the Dragon God, you'll often need to beat him in a poetry jam or cooking contest. I kid, of course, you need to whoop his ass in order for him to concede and join your motley crew. His imposing visage, powerful attacks, regular appearances, and frequent plot use are all reasons why Bahamut deserves the number 1 spot. And if you disagree, well, you tell him that. And that's our list. Got any more summons you'd wish we'd shown? Well, let us know about them in the comments section below.